Mabel was a young woman with beauty that turned heads, but life had not been kind to her. She had a 1-year-old daughter, Angel, born out of a relationship that ended before it even started. Angel's father disappeared the moment he found out Mabel was pregnant, leaving her to struggle alone. Mabel loved her daughter, but deep down she wished her life was different. She dreamed of fancy dresses, expensive cars, and a man who would love her like a queen. That was when she met Frederick. Frederick was rich, handsome, and everything Mabel had ever wanted. From the moment they met, she knew she had to keep him. He took her to expensive restaurants, bought her gifts, and promised her a life she had only seen in movies. But there was a problem. "I can never marry a woman with a child," Frederick said one evening as they sat in his luxurious car. "I need a fresh start, Mabel. If you didn't have that child, we would be perfect together." Mabel's heart pounded. "You mean, if Angel wasn't in the picture, you would marry me?" Frederick smiled, holding her chin. "Of course, babe. I would make you my wife." Mabel's mind spun. She had fought so hard to be a good mother, but now her own daughter was standing in the way of her happiness. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept staring at Angel, who was peacefully breathing in her tiny crib. Her daughter was innocent, but she was also the reason Mabel's dream was slipping away. The next morning, Mabel met Frederick at a restaurant. She held his hands tightly. What if Angel was no longer a problem? Frederick smiled, sipping his coffee. "Then I would put a ring on your finger right away." That was all Mabel needed to hear. That night, as the world outside was silent, Mabel made the worst decision of her life. She picked up a pillow. Angel was sleeping, her tiny fingers curled up in peace. Mabel's hands shook, but she told herself that she was doing this for love, for her future, for Frederick. She placed the pillow over Angel's face. Mabel shut her eyes. Tears ran down her cheeks. Then silence. Mabel sat still, her heart pounding in her chest. It was done. Angel was gone. And now nothing stood between her and the life she wanted. The next morning she called Frederick, her voice shaking with excitement. "It's done." Frederick was silent for a long time. Then he laughed. "You really did it." "Yes, now we can be together." But Frederick's tone changed. "You're insane, Mabel. If you could do this to your own child, what stops you from doing the same to me one day?" Mabel froze. "What? What do you mean?" "I mean, you're dangerous. I was just testing you. I never actually thought you would do it." "You disgust me." Mabel's world crashed. "No, Fred, you promised. Stay away from me." Then the call ended. Mabel stood frozen, the silence after Frederick's cruel words pressing down on her like a heavy rock. She dropped the phone, her body shaking. Then she let out a loud, painful cry, collapsing onto the floor. "No, no, this can't be happening," she sobbed, clutching her chest. "Frederick, you promised me. I did this for us. I did this for you." Tears streamed down her face as she shook her head violently. "I won't let you go. I love you, Frederick. I can't see you marry someone else, not after what I sacrificed. No, I won't let it happen." She crawled to the edge of the bed, breathing heavily, her mind racing. "I'll do anything. Anything to make sure you marry me, Frederick. You are mine. Only mine." Just then, there was a knock on the door. She quickly wiped her tears, trying to steady her breath. She forced a smile and opened the door. Her best friend Bridget stood there, beaming. "Mabel." Bridget stepped inside, looking around. "Where's Angel?" Mabel's heart skipped a beat. "What?" Bridget chuckled. "I miss her. I just felt like taking her out today." "You know how much I love that girl." Mabel's body turned cold. She forced another smile, hoping Bridget wouldn't notice the fear in her eyes. "Oh, Angel isn't here." Bridget frowned. "What do you mean? Where is she?" Mabel swallowed hard. "Her father's family came to take her. They said they were sorry for everything and wanted to make it up to her." Bridget's smile vanished. She stared at Mabel like she had lost her mind. "Wait, you mean the same family that abandoned you when you were pregnant? The same people whose son denied Angel's pregnancy? You just handed her over to them, just like that?" Mabel nodded quickly, forcing a calm expression. "To err is human, to forgive is divine." Bridget stepped back, her hands on her waist. "You are so foolish, Mabel, so foolish," she shouted. "How can you trust those people? Angel is just 1 year old. What if they hurt her? What if they never bring her back? Mabel looked away, her fingers trembling. They won't, they promised. Bridget scoffed. Oh, I see. So they abandoned you when you needed them the most, but now they come back with empty apologies, and you just give them your child. She shook her head. I can't believe you. I really can't. Mabel sighed. Bridget, I don't want to argue. I did what I thought was right. Bridget's eyes burned with anger. Then I have nothing else to say to you, but listen to me, Mabel. Until Angel returns, I won't step into this house again. She turned sharply and stormed out. Mabel watched her go, her lips trembling. And whatever, she muttered under her breath, but as soon as Bridget disappeared, fear gripped Mabel's chest. What if Bridget started asking questions? What if she didn't let it go? Her hands balled into fists. I have to make sure Bridget doesn't dig too deep. The next morning, Mabel was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her heart still ached from Frederick's cruel words the night before. She had barely eaten, barely slept. Then her phone rang. She grabbed it quickly, and when she saw Frederick's name flashing on the screen, her heart jumped. She hesitated before answering. Hello? Frederick's voice was soft, almost pleading. Baby. I'm so sorry. Mabel froze. Last night, I was drunk, Mabel. I didn't mean any of those things I said. You know you're my world, right? I love you so much, babe. Tears filled Mabel's eyes. Are you serious, Frederick? You really love me? Of course, baby, he whispered. How can I live without you? Mabel wiped her tears, a wide smile spreading across her face. Then prove it, Frederick. Marry me. Frederick chuckled. Soon, baby, very soon. As soon as I get this contract, I will go and meet your people and make it official. Mabel sat up, her heart racing with excitement. Oh, Frederick, you don't know how much I love you. I will do anything for you. Frederick sighed deeply. I know, baby, and I need you now more than ever. Mabel frowned slightly. What happened? Baby, my goods have been seized at the port. It's a big problem, Frederick groaned. I need some money to sort it out. Just a little, and I'll get everything back. Mabel's excitement dimmed a little. But I don't have money, Frederick. You do, babe, Frederick said smoothly. The money your father gave you to keep. Mabel's eyes widened. Frederick, no, that money is not even my father's. It's for our community development. I can't touch it. Frederick sighed. Come on, baby. I'm not asking you to give it to me. Just lend it to me. I swear in 4 days I'll return it all. Every single penny. Mabel shook her head. No, Frederick, that money is not mine. Frederick's voice softened, dripping with charm. Baby, do you trust me? Of course I do, Mabel said quickly. Then prove it, Frederick whispered. You said you love me. You said you'll do anything for me. This is your chance, baby. Help your man. Do you want to see me suffer? Mabel bit her lip. Frederick sighed again, sounding hurt. I thought you were my ride or die, Mabel. I thought we were in this together. Mabel felt her heart breaking. Frederick, Don't you want us to get married? He pressed. Yes, I do, she cried. Then help me, baby, just for 4 days. After that, I'll come with my people and pay your bride price. You'll be my wife, my queen. Mabel's breath hitched. Marriage. The one thing she had fought so hard for. She took a deep breath. My father needs that money in a week, Frederick. Frederick's voice was warm and full of praise. That's my baby. I knew you wouldn't let me down. See you later, babe. I'm coming over to pick up the money. The call ended. Mabel clutched the phone to her chest, her heart swelling with joy. Yes, I said it. This man belongs to me. She twirled around the room, laughing. I can't wait to be your wife, Frederick. I love you more than anything in the world. She ran to the mirror, smiling at her reflection. Frederick, my man, nothing will ever take you away from me. A week passed. Mabel was restless, waiting for Frederick to return the money. She called him many times, but he always had the same excuse. Baby, just a little more time. The deal is almost done. I promise, in a few days I'll return every penny. Mabel believed him. She had no choice. One evening, there was a loud knock at her door. Mabel's heart skipped. She quickly adjusted her dress and opened the door. Her father stood there, his face dark with anger. Where is my money? He asked, his voice low but dangerous. Mabel swallowed hard. Papa, Something happened. Her father narrowed his eyes. What do you mean something happened? Mabel lowered her head. I was robbed. The money was stolen. The room went silent. Then her father's loud voice shook the walls. What? And you never told me? Mabel flinched. Papa, I was scared. I thought I could find a way to fix it before telling you. Her father shook his head, pacing the room angrily. You don't know what you have done, Mabel. Do you know the kind of people I collected that money from? The whole community is on my neck. They are threatening me. Mabel's hands became sweaty. Papa, I swear I will find a way to fix it. Her father turned sharply, his eyes burning with rage. You better do something fast. If you don't, you will not like what I will do to you. Mabel's heart pounded. Papa, please give me more time. Her father scoffed. More time? I don't have time. Mabel, I have given my word to those people. If I don't return their money, I will lose my respect, my position, everything. Mabel felt dizzy. She had never seen her father this angry before. Please, Papa, just trust me. I will get the money back. Her father shook his head. You better do it fast, because if I hear another excuse from you, I will make sure you regret it. With that, he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Mabel collapsed onto the chair, breathing heavily. Her mind was spinning. She had to find a way to fix this. She grabbed her phone and dialed Frederick's number. It rang, and rang, and rang. No answer. Mabel's hands trembled as she redialed. Still no answer. Panic gripped her chest. No, no. Frederick, don't do this to me. She sent him a message. Baby, please pick up. My father is on my neck. I need the money now. She waited. No reply. Fear crawled through her veins. Had Frederick tricked her? Had she just lost everything? Just then, Mabel's phone rang. It was Frederick. She quickly picked up, her heart pounding. Baby, let's meet up at the restaurant. I need to explain everything, Frederick said, his voice calm and sweet. Mabel didn't waste time. She got dressed and rushed to the restaurant, her mind filled with hope. Maybe everything would finally be fine. When she arrived, Frederick was already sitting at a corner table, looking handsome as ever. He smiled as she sat down. Baby, I know you're worried, he said, reaching for her hands. But trust me, everything is under control. Mabel swallowed hard. Frederick, my father is angry. The community is on his neck. I need that money back now. Frederick sighed and leaned back. The goods haven't been released yet, babe. I need more time. Mabel's heart dropped. More time. Frederick, I don't have time. My father is threatening me. Frederick squeezed her hands. Listen, baby, you still have your business savings, right? Use that money to pay your father. I'll return everything once my goods are released. Mabel shook her head. No, Frederick, that's my only hope. That's the money I saved to start my shop. Frederick smiled and stroked her hands. Baby, do you love me? You know I do, Mabel whispered. Then trust me, he said smoothly. You're my wife. Everything I have belongs to you, and everything you have belongs to me. Once my business is back on track, you'll have 10 times that money. Just help me this one time. Mabel hesitated, but when Frederick called her his wife, her heart melted. Okay, she finally said, but promise me you'll pay back. Frederick grinned. Of course, my wife. I would never let my woman suffer. Mabel blushed, but suddenly a thought hit her. You called me your wife, yet you never let me touch your phone, she said, folding her arms. You don't even comment on my posts on social media. And you use a woman on all your social media profiles. Frederick's smile didn't fade. He simply chuckled. Oh, baby, don't tell me you're jealous of my mother. Mabel blinked. Your mother? Yes, that's my mother on my profile, Frederick said smoothly. Come on, babe, you think I'd use another woman. Mabel sighed in relief. Oh, I see. I never knew. That's my mother-in-law then. Frederick nodded, laughing. Exactly, baby. And soon I'll introduce you to my family. Soon, my love. Just be patient. Mabel smiled, feeling reassured. She had given Frederick everything, her love, her trust, and now all her money. But in her heart, she still believed she was doing the right thing. After all, soon she would be his wife. 2 weeks had passed, and Frederick had still not returned the money. Mabel was beginning to worry. She had used all her business savings to settle her father, believing Frederick would pay her back soon. But now, whenever she called him, he either didn't pick up or gave her excuses. One evening, she decided she had had enough. She called Frederick again. This time he answered. "Baby, what's going on?" "It's been 2 weeks, and you haven't given me back my money," Mabel said, trying to stay calm. Frederick sighed. "I know, babe, and I'm so sorry. But listen, I have something big coming up. This one will change our lives forever." Mabel's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" Frederick leaned in, lowering his voice like he was sharing a deep secret. "This is a huge business deal, babe, but I need something big as collateral to secure it." Mabel's mind raced. "Collateral? Like what?" Frederick hesitated for a moment, then said, "Something valuable. If I can present a strong guarantee, I'll get the investment, and in 2 weeks we'll be swimming in money." Mabel thought for a moment, then snapped her fingers. "I have my father's house document. We can use that." Frederick's eyes lit up. "Are you serious, baby?" "Yes," Mabel nodded eagerly, "but you must be fast. Do everything within 1 month." Frederick laughed softly and, "No, baby, I will deliver in 2 weeks' time. I promise." Mabel smiled, feeling proud of herself. "This is it. The final step before we become rich." Mabel was in her room, humming to herself, when she heard a knock at the door. She sighed, already guessing who it was. She opened the door and, as expected, Bridget stood there, arms crossed, looking at her suspiciously. "Mabel, where is Angel?" Bridget asked, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. Mabel rolled her eyes. "I told you before, Angel is with her father's family. They took her for a visit." Bridget scoffed. "Again. Mabel, how can you be sending a 1-year-old child on visits every day? I don't understand you. What kind of mother does that?" Mabel's face hardened. "Bridget, why are you always in my business? Must you ask about Angel every single time you come here?" "Because something doesn't add up," Bridget snapped. "Every time I ask for Angel, she's always visiting." "A 1-year-old, Mabel. Does that even make sense to you?" Mabel crossed her arms. "Listen, Bridget, if you have nothing better to say, just stop coming to my house. I don't owe you any explanations." Bridget shook her head, looking disgusted. "Mabel, you are not the same person I used to know. You have changed, and not in a good way." Mabel smirked. "Oh, please, if you want a baby so badly, why don't you go and give birth instead of questioning me about mine?" Bridget's eyes widened with shock. "What did you just say?" "You heard me," Mabel sneered. "Maybe if you had your own child, you wouldn't be so obsessed with mine." Bridget's face burned with anger. "You are sick, Mabel, truly sick. And one day you will regret everything you're doing." Mabel laughed mockingly. "Goodbye, Bridget, and don't come back until you learn to mind your own business." Bridget hissed and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Mabel stood there for a moment, breathing heavily. "Why is she always poking her nose into my life?" she thought angrily. She shook off the bad feeling and smiled to herself. "None of this matters. Soon Frederick will make me his wife, and I will have the life I deserve." Mabel's father sat on his wooden chair outside his house, scrolling through his phone, when a message popped up. He opened it, thinking it was just another notification, but the moment his eyes landed on the words, his whole body went stiff. "Final notice, you have 48 hours to vacate the property or face legal action." His breath caught in his throat. His vision blurred. He read the message again, hoping he had seen wrong. But the words didn't change. His hands started shaking. Sweat broke out on his forehead. His heartbeat pounded so fast he thought his chest would explode. What is this?" he muttered, gripping the phone tighter. His head spun as realization hit him. The house was gone. His house. The home he built with his sweat. Gone. His fingers trembled as he dialed Mabel's number. The phone rang once, twice. Then she picked up. "Papa?" His voice came out shaky. "Mabel?" "What have you done?" Mabel frowned. "Papa, what are you talking about?" "The bank just sent me a message," his voice cracked. "They said I have 48 hours to leave my house. What did you do, Mabel?" Silence. Then Mabel's panicked voice came through. "Papa, I can explain." His hands turned ice cold. His head throbbed. "Explain what? Did you touch my house document?" "Papa, I had no choice," Mabel cried. "Frederick needed it for business. He promised to return the money, but I don't know what's happening." Her father's body went weak. His chest felt tight, his fingers loosened, and the phone slipped from his grip, falling to the ground with a dull thud. His breath came in short gasps, his heart pounded wildly in his chest. Then everything went dark. He slumped in his chair, his body limp. A neighbor, who had been watching from across the street, rushed over. "Papa Mabel! Papa Mabel!" No response. The man placed a hand on his chest, then quickly turned and ran toward the road, shouting, "Help! Somebody help!" "He has collapsed." But it was too late. By the time they rushed him to the hospital, he was gone. Meanwhile, Mabel sat on her bed, chewing her nails, waiting for her father to call back. She knew he was angry, but she was sure she could calm him down. Her phone rang and she grabbed it quickly, but it wasn't her father, it was her uncle. She hesitated before answering. "Uncle." The voice on the other end was rough and filled with sorrow. "Mabel, your father is dead." The phone almost slipped from her hands. She felt like she had been hit by a truck. "No, no, Uncle, that's not possible. He had a heart attack," her uncle said slowly. "The shock of losing the house killed him." Mabel's scream filled the room. Her whole world crumbled. She killed her father. The guilt crashed into her like a wave. She had taken everything from him, all for a man who hadn't even paid her back. Her hands trembled as she called Frederick. The moment he picked up, she shouted, "You killed my father." Frederick sighed lazily. "Baby, why are you shouting?" Mabel sobbed. "He had a heart attack after reading the bank's message. This is all your fault." Frederick sighed again, sounding bored. "Mabel, calm down. Your father was old. It was bound to happen sooner or later." Mabel froze. "What? What did you just say?" Frederick's voice softened. "Baby, listen to me. This business will change our lives. Once it clicks, we'll be rich. We'll get married. You'll never have to worry about anything again." Mabel shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "You lied to me," she whispered. Frederick chuckled. "Come on, baby. Don't be dramatic. You're my wife. We are in this together." Mabel wiped her face. Her father was dead, her house was gone, and now Frederick was acting like none of it mattered. But she had nothing left. She sniffed. "You promise this business will work?" "Of course, my love," Frederick said smoothly. Mabel closed her eyes. She had lost everything, but she still had Frederick, and she wasn't ready to lose him too. Days later, Mabel went to a restaurant to get something to eat. She wasn't in the best mood, but she needed fresh air. The last few days had been too much for her, her father's death, the stress of the house, and waiting endlessly for Frederick to return the money. But she kept telling herself that everything would be fine, that Frederick loved her, and soon they would have the life they always dreamed of. As she sat at a corner table waiting for her order, her eyes wandered around the restaurant. Then suddenly, her heart stopped. At the far end of the restaurant, seated comfortably in a dimly lit booth, was Frederick. But he wasn't alone. Mabel's breath caught in her throat. She squinted her eyes to be sure she wasn't seeing things. But there he was. Her Frederick, the man she had sacrificed everything for. And right there in front of her, he was holding another woman's face in his hands, whispering something to her before pressing a deep kiss on her lips. Mabel's hands turned ice cold. She felt her stomach twist. A wave of heat rushed to her face as she gripped the table in shock. But the worst part, she recognized the woman. It was the same woman he had always claimed was his mother. Her entire body went numb. She blinked rapidly, hoping, praying she was seeing wrong. Maybe it was just someone who looked like him. Maybe it wasn't really Frederick. A sharp pain shot through her chest. She felt like the air had been knocked out of her lungs. But even in her shock, she knew one thing. Frederick was a liar, a manipulator, a man she had given everything to, only to be played like a fool. Her hands shook as she quickly pulled out her phone and took a picture. If he tried to deny it later, she would have proof. She needed proof. She grabbed her food and stormed out of the restaurant, her mind spinning with a mixture of rage and heartbreak. By the time she got home, her whole body was trembling. Without thinking twice, she opened her messages and sent the picture to Frederick. Barely 5 minutes later, her phone rang. It was him. She picked up immediately, her voice filled with fury. "Frederick, what is this? Who is that woman?" Frederick sighed on the other end, his tone unusually calm. Baby, I can explain. Explain what? Is that not the woman you told me was your mother? Mabel screamed, pacing up and down the room. There was silence on the other end. Then Frederick spoke in a smooth voice. Baby, please don't be mad at me. I lied to you earlier. That woman, she's my sugar mummy. Mabel froze. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it would burst. She gripped the phone tighter. What? What did you just say? Frederick sighed deeply, as if he was the one suffering. Baby, she's the one funding my lifestyle. The expensive things I have, she bought them. The car I drive belongs to her. The house I live in. She owns it. Mabel felt her legs weaken. She stumbled onto the bed, her head spinning. She had given this man everything. She had believed in him, defended him, fought for him, sacrificed for him. And now he was telling her that all this time he had been living off an older woman. You mean to tell me that all this while you've been living off a sugar mummy? She whispered, her voice shaking. Frederick let out another long sigh. Baby, I had no choice. She promised to give me a huge amount soon. I just needed her to fund me while I worked on something bigger. Mabel clutched her chest, anger and pain twisting inside her. You lied to me, Frederick. You made me believe she was your mother. How could you? I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know how to tell you, Frederick said, his voice gentle, almost like he was comforting a child. But listen to me. You don't expect me to actually love that old woman, do you? Come on, baby. You are my wife, the mother of my unborn children. You are the one I truly love. Mabel's heart thumped wildly in her chest. She wanted to hate him. She wanted to scream and curse him. She wanted to throw her phone against the wall, but his words, his voice, the way he called her his wife, it softened her. Frederick, you promised to be mine forever, she whispered. Of course, baby, Frederick said smoothly. You are the only one I want, the only one I will ever love. You and me, baby. We are going to be rich, powerful, and happy. Don't let anything distract us. Mabel swallowed hard, her fingers tightening around the phone. Everything inside her screamed at her to leave, to finally open her eyes and see Frederick for what he truly was. But she couldn't. She had lost too much already. Her money, her father, her home. Frederick was the only thing she had left. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to believe his words one last time. Okay, she said softly. Frederick chuckled. That's my baby. I love you. That night, Mabel tossed and turned in her bed. Sleep didn't come easily. Her mind was restless, filled with thoughts of everything that had happened. But eventually, exhaustion took over and she drifted off. Then the dream came. She saw Angel, her little girl, standing alone in a dark place. The child was crying, her tiny hands reaching out as if begging for help. Mama, please help me. Mabel's chest tightened. She tried to run towards Angel, but her feet wouldn't move. It was like she was stuck in place, forced to watch her daughter cry helplessly. Mama, why did you leave me? Angel sobbed. Mama, I'm scared. Mabel gasped, her heart pounding. Angel, I'm here. She struggled, fought to reach her daughter, but no matter how hard she tried, Angel seemed to be slipping further and further away. Then suddenly, the little girl's cries grew softer, weaker. And before Mabel could do anything, Angel disappeared into the darkness. Mabel's eyes flew open. She sat up, breathing heavily, her body drenched in sweat. Her heart was racing so fast it felt like it would burst out of her chest. She grabbed her phone with shaky hands and dialed Frederick's number. He picked up on the second ring, his voice groggy. Baby, why are you calling me at this time? What's wrong? Mabel swallowed hard, still trying to catch her breath. Frederick, I just had a dream about Angel. She was crying. She was calling for me. Something is wrong, Frederick. There was silence on the other end for a few seconds before Frederick sighed. Baby, it's just a dream. You think too much. Mabel shook her head, still feeling uneasy. No, Frederick, it felt real. I've never had a dream like this before. Frederick groaned, clearly irritated. Mabel, stop stressing yourself. You need to rest. Dreams don't mean anything, okay? Go back to sleep. Mabel hesitated. Her chest still felt heavy. The image of Angel crying wouldn't leave her mind. But baby, what if... Frederick sighed. Mabel, stop this. It's just your mind playing tricks on you. What's done is done. Thinking about it will not change anything. Mabel pressed the phone tighter to her ear. But, no buts, Frederick snapped. Do you want to go crazy? Forget about it and sleep. Mabel swallowed hard, her hands still shaking. Okay, she whispered. Frederick's voice softened. That's my baby. Stop overthinking. I love you. Now go back to sleep. The call ended, but Mabel did not sleep. She sat in bed, staring at the darkness. Her heart was still beating fast. She told herself it was just a dream. Meanwhile, Frederick was not sleeping. He lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling with a smile on his face. Then he let out a small laugh and shook his head. This foolish girl, he muttered. She really thinks I have her time. By the time I am done with her, she will regret ever knowing me. He stretched his legs and chuckled again. Somebody that unalived her own child because of a man thinks I will marry her. What a foolish girl. He picked up his phone, scrolled through his messages, and saw Mabel's last text. She was still worried about the dream. He shook his head and tossed the phone aside. He had gotten everything he wanted from Mabel, her money, her father's house, and her complete trust. And yet, she still believed he loved her. She is too easy, he said to himself, too desperate. Then he closed his eyes, not worried about anything, because to him, Mabel was just another fool in his game. The next morning, Frederick was sitting in his well-furnished apartment, sipping a glass of wine, when his sugar mummy walked in. She was dressed in an expensive silk gown, her gold earrings shining under the light. She dropped her handbag on the table and folded her arms, looking at him with a serious face. "Frederick, when are you going to marry me?" she asked, her voice sharp. Frederick slowly placed his glass down and looked at her with a charming smile. "Baby, soon. You know I'm just waiting for the right time." His sugar mummy scoffed. "How soon?" "Because I can't be spending my money on you for 5 years now, and yet no marriage, nothing." "Frederick, you are just eating my money and sleeping with anything in a skirt." Frederick's face remained calm, but inside he was annoyed. "If I catch you, Frederick, you will regret the day your miserable mother gave birth to you," she continued, her eyes burning with anger. "Or do you think I don't know you sleep with young women? You think I am stupid." Frederick quickly stood up and walked over to her. He placed his hands gently on her shoulders and looked into her eyes, his voice soft and sweet. "Baby, why are you talking like this? You are the only one I have. Nobody has ever cared for me the way you do. You are my everything." The woman looked at him for a moment, her lips still pressed together, but her eyes softened slightly. "Frederick, I have done too much for you. I don't want to be played." Frederick smiled. "And you won't be, baby. You are my queen, my life, my future. Don't let outsiders fill your head with lies. I love you, and you know that." She sighed and shook her head. Frederick, you know how to talk." Frederick kissed her hands. "Because I love you, baby. Now stop stressing yourself. You know stress is not good for a beautiful woman like you." She exhaled deeply, finally calming down. "Okay, I will trust you." Frederick smiled wider. "That's my baby." After she left, Frederick burst into laughter. He laughed so hard that he almost spilled his drink. "These women are foolish," he said to himself, shaking his head. "Especially this, my stupid sugar mummy. How can she expect me, a young, handsome, fresh guy, to marry her? She must be dreaming." He walked to the mirror and admired himself, adjusting his shirt. Women are so soft. They believe anything easily. Just a few sweet words and they will do whatever you want. He chuckled again, shaking his head. Then he pointed at his reflection and smirked. "Frederick, you are a bad guy. Keep it up." Mabel had been feeling strange for the past few days, dizzy in the mornings, craving odd things, and feeling tired all the time. At first, she thought it was just stress from everything happening in her life. But deep down, something told her to check. She went to the pharmacy, bought a pregnancy test, and rushed back home. Her hands were shaking as she waited for the results. Then, 2 clear lines appeared. Mabel sat on her bed, holding the pregnancy test in her hands, her heart racing with excitement. She couldn't believe it. She was pregnant. After everything that had happened, she finally had something to be happy about. A part of Frederick growing inside her. This was proof that they were meant to be together. Without wasting time, she picked up her phone and dialed Frederick's number. The moment the call connected, she smiled brightly and said, "Baby, I am pregnant for you. I can't wait for you to come over so we can celebrate." But instead of Frederick's excited response, a cold, sharp female voice replied, "Pregnant? For who?" Mabel's smile disappeared instantly. Her breath caught in her throat. "Wait, who is this?" she asked, her voice shaky. A bitter laugh came from the other end. "You foolish little girl, do you even know who you are calling?" Mabel's stomach twisted. "Where is Frederick? Who are you?" "I am the woman who owns him," the voice snapped. "The one who feeds him, clothes him, and puts a roof over his head. And you? You are just another cheap little girl he has been playing with." Mabel's hands clenched into fists. "You are the sugar mummy, aren't you?" "Yes, and I have spent 5 years of my life making that useless fool look like a man," the woman hissed. "Now tell me again, are you pregnant for my Frederick?" Mabel's anger flared. "Your Frederick? You mean the small boy you are babysitting with your money? An old woman like you should be thinking of retirement, not chasing young boys." The woman's voice rose with fury. "How dare you, you desperate little rat! Do you think having a child will make him marry you? Let me tell you, Frederick will never be yours." Mabel laughed mockingly. "And you think he will be yours? A woman old enough to be his mother? What a joke! You are just his ATM. Without your money, he wouldn't even look at you." "You will regret this," the sugar mummy spat. "You and Frederick, both of you will suffer. I will deal with you." Before Mabel could respond, the call ended. She threw her phone on the bed, breathing heavily. Her hands were shaking with rage. She had just found out she was pregnant, and instead of Frederick celebrating with her, she had to deal with his sugar mummy. Her teeth clenched. "Frederick, you better explain yourself." Meanwhile, Frederick walked into the living room, stretching his arms. His sugar mummy was seated on the couch, arms crossed, her eyes filled with fire. The moment he saw her face, he knew something was wrong. "What's wrong, baby?" he asked, forcing a smile. The woman held up his phone. "Guess who just called?" Frederick's body stiffened. "Who?" She threw the phone at him. "That foolish girl you've been messing with. She said she's pregnant." Frederick felt his heart drop. "And when I confronted her, she insulted me," the woman continued, her voice shaking with rage. "She called me an old fool chasing small boys." Frederick opened his mouth, trying to think of what to say, but she wasn't done. "For 5 years I have taken care of you. And this is how you repay me? Sleeping around with small girls behind my back." Frederick swallowed hard. "Baby, listen." "Shut up," she shouted, jumping to her feet. "You are just a useless, greedy fool, and I was stupid enough to believe you loved me." Frederick quickly stepped closer, his voice soft. "Baby, don't let that girl come between us. You are the only one I love. She's lying, trying to ruin what we have." The woman shook her head, laughing bitterly. "Frederick, I am not a fool. I know the kind of man you are. You have been using me all these years." "Baby, no. You are my queen," Frederick said, trying to hold her hands. She pulled away. "Enough. I have had enough of you. Get out of my house." Frederick froze. "Baby, don't do this." "Get out," she screamed. Frederick knew it was over. He had lost. He tried to grab some of his expensive clothes, but the woman marched to the closet and started throwing them outside. "Take your rubbish and go, you worthless fool." Frederick grabbed what little he could, just a few shirts and pants. His watches, his shoes, his expensive colognes, all gone. The woman grabbed his car keys. "And don't even think about touching that car. It belongs to me." Frederick's hands clenched into fists, but he knew there was nothing he could do. He had lost his home, his money, and his luxury lifestyle. As he stepped outside, carrying his small bag of clothes, the woman shouted after him, "You will regret the day you ever played with me, Frederick. You will suffer." Frederick walked away without looking back, but inside he was burning with rage. Frederick arrived at Mabel's house, his face dark with anger. The moment she opened the door, he pushed past her, slamming the door behind him. "You couldn't even wait for me to come over," he snapped, his eyes burning with frustration. "How can you say that kind of thing on the phone, Mabel? Do you know what you have done?" Mabel folded her arms, her own anger rising. "And what exactly have I done, Frederick? I thought you loved me. You have told me so many times that you can't wait for me to be your wife." Why all this? Frederick scoffed. Oh yeah, I said that. But just look at what you have done. Do you even think before you act? That woman gives me money. She takes care of everything. And now she has thrown me out. No house, no car, no money. How do we survive, Mabel? Mabel stared at him in disbelief. So all you care about is money, not me, not the baby. Frederick ran a hand over his face, sighing in frustration. Mabel, be reasonable. You are not working. I have nothing now. How do you expect us to take care of a child in this situation? Mabel's eyes narrowed. What are you trying to say, Frederick? Frederick stepped closer, lowering his voice. Mabel, you have to get rid of that pregnancy. Let me get back on my feet first before we think of having a baby. Mabel's whole body stiffened. Her fingers curled into fists. You must be dreaming, Frederick. Never. I will never harm any of my children again. Frederick clicked his tongue and shook his head. Mabel, don't be stupid. This is not about emotions, it's about survival. You want to bring a child into this kind of suffering. Mabel's voice trembled with anger. I don't care how hard life is. This baby stays. I already made one mistake, and I will never do it again. 4 days passed, and as always, Frederick found a way to sweet-talk Mabel. She was still hurt and unsure, but he knew exactly what to say. He whispered sweet words, painted beautiful pictures of their future, and held her close, making her believe that everything he did was for them. Slowly, Mabel's resistance weakened. She told herself that Frederick was right. Now was not the time for a baby. They needed to secure their future first. With tears in her eyes and a heavy heart, she agreed. The next day, she got rid of the pregnancy. Frederick held her afterward, stroking her hair, telling her she was strong, that one day they would have everything they dreamed of. He made her believe it was the right decision. Days later, Frederick brought up a new plan. As they sat together in her small apartment, he cleared his throat and said, Baby, there's a very profitable business I want you to do for me. Mabel frowned. What kind of business? Frederick smiled, holding her hand. It's simple. There's a lot of money involved. Mabel narrowed her eyes. Why can't you do it? Frederick chuckled. It's a woman's thing, baby. Rich men like dealing with women. All you have to do is meet them and get the money. That's all. Mabel hesitated. Meet them for what exactly? Frederick squeezed her hand, looking deep into her eyes. Baby, don't overthink it. It's just business. These men have a lot of money, and they like talking to beautiful women like you. You just have to meet them, be nice, and collect what we need. It's easy money, my love. Mabel still felt unsure, but Frederick pulled her close, kissed her forehead, and whispered, Do this for me, my love. You know I would never put you in harm's way. Her heart melted. She wanted to believe him. She needed to believe him. Okay, she finally agreed. Frederick smiled wide. That's my baby. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Days later, Frederick sent her on her first business trip. You just need to go and meet a wealthy chief, he told her. Tell him you came to collect the money he owes me. Mabel dressed up and went to the chief's luxurious mansion. She was nervous but determined. She had already sacrificed so much for Frederick, she wasn't going to stop now. When she arrived, she was taken to the grand living room, where the chief sat on an expensive leather couch, sipping wine. She cleared her throat and spoke with confidence. Sir, I'm here because my man said you owe him money. He asked me to collect it. The chief chuckled. He looked at her slowly, then shook his head. I owe Frederick nothing. Mabel frowned. But he said. The chief leaned forward, his eyes dark with amusement. He sent you to me, so that after I sleep with you, I will give you money in return. Mabel froze. Her heart started pounding. No, that can't be. That's impossible. Never. The chief laughed again, sipping his wine. Are you sure? Because I know Frederick. This is what he does. He sends women to me, and in exchange for money, I enjoy them. He placed his glass down and stared at her. But let me not waste your time. I will give you 5 million naira for just one night. Mabel's breath caught in her throat. 5 million naira. She shook her head quickly. Number, I can't do that. I am not that kind of woman. The chief shrugged. Think carefully, my dear. You are already here. Will you go back empty-handed and disappoint your man? Mabel's hands trembled. She thought of Frederick's words. their future, their plans, their dreams. "This is just business," she told herself. Slowly she looked at the chief and whispered, "Okay." The deed was done. Mabel left the mansion with the money and went straight home. Her hands felt dirty, her heart was heavy. But when she stepped inside, Frederick was there waiting for her, his face lighting up like a proud husband. He pulled her into his arms, kissing her deeply. "That's my superwoman," he whispered, running his fingers through her hair. "The mother of my unborn children." Mabel closed her eyes, feeling warmth from his words. She wanted to hate herself, but Frederick made her feel like she had done something great. This continued for 2 weeks. Frederick kept sending her to different wealthy men, and each time he sweet-talked her into believing it was just business. And each time Mabel convinced herself that it was for their future. But one evening, as they sat in the room counting the money they had saved, Mabel finally spoke up. "Frederick, I think we have saved enough. I want to stop this." Frederick, who had been smiling, suddenly went quiet. He looked at her and leaned back. "Why?" "We are just getting started." Mabel shifted uncomfortably. "Because I don't feel right about it. We have money now. It's enough to start a good life. I don't want to continue." Frederick's jaw tightened, but he forced a smile. "Baby, you're overthinking. Just a little more, and we will be rich enough to never worry again." Mabel shook her head. "No, Frederick, I'm done. I also noticed something. You don't touch me anymore." Frederick's expression changed slightly. "What?" "You don't make love to me anymore," she said, staring at him. "Why?" Frederick sighed and rubbed his forehead. "Baby, it's stress. I have been thinking about our future, how to make things better for us. That's why I have been distracted." Mabel stared at him, searching his face for any sign of a lie. But Frederick, as always, knew how to make her doubt herself. "Baby, don't pressure me," he added, taking her hands in his. "I love you. I am just focused on our future. You understand, right?" Mabel bit her lip, still feeling uneasy, but slowly nodded. "Okay." Frederick kissed her forehead and smiled. 5 months had passed since Mabel started her new line of work. She had tried to push away the guilt and pain, convincing herself that everything she was doing was for survival. Frederick was still by her side, whispering sweet words, feeding her with dreams of a future she was starting to doubt. She was making money, more than she had ever imagined, but something in her heart was breaking. She felt empty. Every night when she lay beside Frederick, she wondered if he truly loved her, or if she was just another pawn in his game. Lately, her body had been acting strangely. She was constantly weak, always tired. She had lost her appetite, and no matter how much she tried to ignore it, something felt off. Finally, she decided to go for a checkup, just to make sure everything was fine. She arrived at the hospital early in the morning, filled out her details, and waited her turn. When her name was called, she went into the consultation room. The doctor, a middle-aged man with a calm but serious expression, asked her a few routine questions before running a series of tests. She sat in the waiting area for what felt like hours, her heart beating fast. Finally, she was called back into the doctor's office. He looked at her test results, his expression unreadable. Then he slowly placed the paper down and looked up at her. "Mabel, your results show that you are HIV positive." The words hit her like a slap. The room suddenly felt too small, the air too thin. Her ears started ringing. She blinked, shaking her head as if she had misheard him. "No, that can't be," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The doctor sighed. "I know this is difficult to hear, but I need you to listen to me. It's still in the early stages. With proper medication and a healthy lifestyle, you can manage it. You can still live a long, healthy life." Mabel wasn't hearing anything, her vision blurred with tears. The walls of the office felt like they were closing in on her. How? How could this happen to her? She covered her mouth with her hands as the first sob escaped. Then another. And another. Before she knew it, she was crying uncontrollably, shaking as if her whole world had shattered. The doctor handed her a tissue, speaking in a soothing tone, but she barely heard him. All she could think about was Frederick. "He did this to me." She rushed out of the hospital, ignoring the concerned glances from the nurses and patients. She couldn't breathe. The streets blurred before her eyes as she stumbled home. By the time she reached the house, her legs could barely carry her. She slammed the door shut and locked herself in the room, throwing herself onto the bed. She screamed into the pillow, punching the mattress, her body shaking with rage and despair. All the sacrifices she had made, all the love she had given, and this was what she got in return. I gave him everything, she sobbed, and he gave me this. For hours, she cried. The pain was unbearable. She felt dirty, used, destroyed. She thought about all the times Frederick had assured her that they would be fine, all the times he had told her to trust him. She had trusted him more than anything, and now she was paying the price. Then suddenly a new thought entered her mind. She sat up, her teary eyes staring at nothing in particular. He must have it too. Her breathing slowed. Her heart pounded differently now. Anger bubbled inside her, pushing away the sorrow. He started this. He ruined my life. He cannot walk away free. Frederick came home late that evening, looking satisfied with himself. He walked in, dropped his keys on the table, and went straight to his phone, scrolling through messages. Mabel watched him from where she sat, pretending everything was fine. No tears, no sadness. She stood up. "Frederick, we need to talk." Frederick barely looked up. "What is it?" Mabel walked closer. "It's been 5 months since you introduced me to this business, and I've done everything you asked. I don't complain, I don't question you, but there's something I need to understand." Frederick sighed, putting his phone down. "Mabel, I'm tired. Can we not do this now?" "No, we have to," Mabel said. "I need to understand why you started using protection on me the moment I began this work." Frederick laughed. "Is that what this is about?" "Yes," Mabel said. "I can't take it anymore. You act like I'm the one who is dirty while you're clean. You sleep with me, but refuse to do it properly." "Why, Frederick?" Frederick laughed again, shaking his head. "You must be foolish, Mabel. How do you expect me to sleep with you without protecting myself? Do you want me to catch a deadly disease?" Mabel felt something snap inside her. She stared at him in disbelief. "So I am the one who is allowed to have sickness? Oh wow, Frederick, how foolish and evil can you be?" Frederick scoffed. "You're acting like a child. Be wise. If I were your brother, would you allow me to marry someone like you? Think, Mabel, think, and don't be stupid." Mabel's chest tightened. "I gave you everything, Frederick. My family, my body, my love, my trust. And this is how you repay me. You tricked me. You deceived me. You made me believe we had a future." Frederick rolled his eyes. "Oh, please, stop that nonsense, Mabel. You knew what you were getting into. Don't act like a victim now." Mabel's head spun. Her whole life flashed before her eyes. The sacrifices, the pain, the shame. Everything she had done for this man meant nothing. He had used her, and now he was discarding her like trash. Frederick grabbed his phone. "I don't have time for this foolishness. You better start thinking straight, Mabel." He stormed off, slamming the door behind him, leaving Mabel alone. She sat on the bed, staring at nothing. Then the tears came, hot, heavy, endless. She had lost everything for this man. Now she had nothing left. But as she wiped her tears, a new thought came to her. Frederick thought he had won. He thought he had broken her. But he was wrong. This wasn't over. Not yet. Mabel picked up her phone with shaking hands and dialed her friend Bridget's number. The phone rang for a few seconds before Bridget picked up. "What do you want, Mabel?" Bridget's voice was cold, filled with anger and disappointment. "Bridget, please, I need to talk to you," Mabel said, her voice trembling. Bridget scoffed. "After everything? You still have the guts to call me? What do you want this time?" Mabel took a deep breath. "I just need someone to talk to. I need to tell you everything." Bridget sighed but didn't hang up. "Go ahead." Mabel didn't hold anything back. She told Bridget everything. How Frederick deceived her, how he convinced her to give him her father's house documents, how he forced her into the business that destroyed her life. Then, with a heavy heart, she finally confessed the worst part of all. What she had done to her baby, Angel. There was complete silence. Then Bridget let out a deep breath. "Mabel, oh my God, I can't believe you did that to your own child. You are so stupid. I warned you about Frederick. I told you he was using you, but you refused to listen." Mabel sobbed. I know, Bridget. I know I was foolish. I thought he loved me. I thought we had a future together. And now I'm HIV positive. He ruined my life. I can't let him walk away. Frederick must marry me. He has no choice." Bridget laughed bitterly. "Mabel, how foolish can you be? Even after everything, you still don't see the truth. You still think you have a future with Frederick." "He has to," Mabel screamed. "After all he did to me, after all I lost because of him, he must pay." Bridget sighed deeply. "Mabel, listen carefully. For your information, Frederick is married." Mabel's heart stopped. "What?" "I saw him a few days ago at the Canadian Embassy with his wife and 4 kids. I think they are traveling out of the country next week." Mabel froze, her body going completely numb. "No, that's not possible." "Oh, it's very possible. While you were here suffering, selling yourself and destroying your life, he was enjoying himself with his real family. You were just a fool, Mabel. I can't believe you did all this for a man who never even saw you as a human being." Mabel's breathing grew rapid, her vision blurred with rage. "So Frederick has a wife, he has kids, and he made me unalived mine." Bridget tried to calm her. "Mabel, please listen to me. You can still get your life back. You can—" But Mabel had already ended the call. Her hands were shaking as she opened her bedside drawer and pulled out the gun she had bought weeks ago. She had bought it out of fear, to protect herself if anything ever went wrong. But now it had only one purpose. Frederick was going to pay. She tucked the gun into her bag and stormed out of the house. Mabel arrived at the popular bar where Frederick usually hung out. The place was noisy and filled with laughter, people drinking and celebrating their lives. She spotted Frederick sitting at a corner with his friends, looking relaxed and happy. He was laughing. He had no worries. He was planning his future while she was drowning in misery. Mabel walked straight to him, her hands clenched into fists. Frederick looked up, surprised to see her. "Mabel, what are you doing here?" She stood over him, staring him dead in the eye. "I know everything, Frederick. I know you're married. I know you have kids. I know you're traveling to Canada next week." Frederick smiled, and so what? Mabel's hands shook with anger. "You lied to me. You used me. You made me destroy my life while you built yours. You took all my money, and now you're leaving." Frederick leaned back, completely unbothered. "Of course. Did you actually think I would marry someone like you? Be serious, Mabel. I have a beautiful, decent wife. I have 4 adorable kids. And thanks to you, I was able to finance all our travel documents. You paid for my future, and now I'm done with you." Mabel's vision blurred with rage. "All the money I made. You used it for your wife and kids. You even bought a house for your parents." Frederick laughed. "Of course, you think I would waste it on someone like you. Mabel, you were never anything to me, just business." Something inside Mabel snapped. Without another word, she reached into her bag and pulled out the gun. And she shot him 3 times. The 4th shot silenced him forever. The bar erupted in chaos. People ran in every direction, shouting and crying. Mabel ran through the streets, the wind hitting her face as she made her way to an uncompleted building at the outskirts of town. Her breaths were heavy, but her mind was clear. She had done what she came to do. Frederick was dead. But it wasn't enough. She had lost everything: her baby, her father, her body, her soul. What was left? She climbed up to the highest floor of the unfinished building. The city lights twinkled below, mocking her pain. She pulled out the gun one last time. For the first time in months, she smiled. A real, genuine smile. Then, without hesitation, she pulled the trigger. Bang. Mabel's story ended there. Moral lesson: be careful who you trust. Not everyone who claims to love you truly does. One wrong decision can destroy your life. Revenge doesn't bring peace. It only leaves more pain. Sometimes, the people who care about us see the danger we refuse to see. No matter how broken life feels, there is always a chance to start over. And no matter what happens, never end the lives of your loved ones because of anybody.